NF, and this is my level design analysis of Dark Carnival Map 2, the Fairgrounds. So yeah, this is just a little series I do where I just kind of ramble a little bit about my thoughts on what the level design is doing, talking about any Easter eggs I might find, any little other things I might notice as I go through, and as always, leave a comment down below if you have any feedback or anything that I might have missed that you want to hear me talk about. Yeah, let's get started on this map. So right off the bat, we see the poster for the Midnight Riders. So we briefly saw that teased in map 1, and now we get to see it again. More foreshadowing and building that anticipation feeling, which is really cool from a level design point of view. And now we actually get to see the Midnight Riders and like who they are. Before I think we just saw the logo, so that's a cool feeling as well to see that. So we walk out here.
Guess the infection is spreading faster than we're moving.
Park. Cool reveal here. Got these little ticket booths here. Fun fact, in the files, there's actually a beta version of this, which looks a lot different. Let's see, got a little scavenging over here. Still a side area off to the side here. Let's see, I think this thing here is the only one of these like games booths that are actually open. Most of these are actually closed in Dark Carnival. It's the only one that's open, I think. I wish they did a bit more with some of these games, but again, Left 4 Dead 2 was developed in only a year, less than a year, I would say. So, you know, in an alternate universe where they took 3 years to make Left 4 Dead 2, you might have seen more of these games, but alas, we don't live in that universe. Here we have the Peanut Gallery. We get the target shooting minigame. So this actually wasn't added to the game until very late in development. And I know this because there's videos from, I believe it was PAX in 2009. PAX is a game development convention, I think it is. And they played a demo of Left 4 Dead 2 there. And at the time, this was not here. And it was actually just a closed off room. And then when you eventually get into this area, you would go into like a room here. And this was actually like a billiards room. There was like a little pool table and then a little hallway here, and you actually can see remnants of the hallway which is still left in the game. So you would actually walk through here and then you would have popped out right here out of this doorway. And in my custom campaign, Dark Carnival Remix, actually restored that hallway and that billiards room almost 1-to-1. So if you want to experience what that looks like, check out that map, and it's in the 4th map of that campaign. But yeah. Let's see, in versus mode, you often fight the tank in this area, and I think this is a really cool area to fight the tank in. I think what makes tank fights in versus mode really cool is when both teams have a lot of options. So the tank in versus mode will often climb on this rooftop sometimes, and he'll like throw rocks at the survivors who might be, you know, trying to line of sight him behind the tree or behind this guy here. And then the tank can do various different rotations, so you can like rotate over here. He can actually there's a hittable over here, a hittable forklift, and I don't think the dumpster is hittable if I remember correctly. I think it's just a forklift. So you can actually go get the forklift. He can even drop down over here and like get some little sneaky little rocks from over here. So I think from a versus mode perspective, this area is pretty fun. And it's like there's also like different spawns that the specials can come from, and it's not like terribly far away. Like you can come from over here, and it's like all sorts of little mind games that each team can do. I've even seen sometimes survivors run all the way back to the safe room and fight the tank here. I've even seen survivors push forward and fight the tank here. It doesn't usually end well, but I've seen that happen before. So I think this is a really cool area from a versus perspective and a level design perspective. Let's see here. So one thing that I think that's really cool about what the Dark Carnival campaign is doing. One thing that's cool about amusement parks is that you can oftentimes see like behind the scenes. Like, you've ever been to Disney World and you see like an employee walk out of like some weird doorway, and you're kind of curious, like what's back there? I want to see what's back there. And the Dark Carnival campaign lets you live that fantasy, lets you go through areas that you're not meant to really go to. Like, if this was a real life amusement park and you're like a guy here getting a hot dog, you wouldn't be able to go back here in this little warehouse, but now you can. And that's cool fantasy that I think that the Left 4 Dead level designers probably thought of, and they let you live that fantasy, which is, and I think they do better. There's some better areas for this later on. Right now, it's just a warehouse, but yeah, I think that's a cool feeling in the Dark Carnival campaign. Let's see. So you come out through here. Again, I think this is out of. I want to say out of bounds, but that's a term in level design, so I won't say that. It's just like a behind the scenes area. Is what I'll say. Behind the scenes. So yeah, this is back to the park again. Let's see. So a cool little establishing shot here of Kittyland. Nice elevation change. In levels, you kind of want to change elevation as frequently as you can, but not too much, but not too little either. And unfortunately, I think the nature of carnivals is that they're kind of flat, so they don't really get a whole lot of elevation change in the levels of Dark Carnival. But little things like this actually kind of make a difference. I think just this little slope, just a subtle thing, but it kind of adds a nice little spice, without it feeling too unrealistic. Here we have another one of those areas that's kind of like a Dark Carnival motel, where it's a very open-ended area, and I almost wish this area was utilized a bit more by the level designers, because in Left 4 Dead 2, you actually don't really need to go off the beaten path that much. Like, unfortunately, a lot of your supplies are literally on your path, and you don't really have to scavenge. Like, let's
smells
see,
like popcorn.
you come here, you get
alley
your tier
still
2, and
stinks
it's just
like
like
piss.
sitting right there. I would like to see. I wish that, well, it's too late now, but I wish that there were more incentive in this game to explore off the beaten path a little bit more. Like maybe special items that are never on the main path, like a grenade launcher or new tier 3 that's literally never on the main path. You could only get it off the golden path or something like that, So I feel like this area is very underutilized, and I don't really see co-op players going over here too much. In versus mode, you do see people going over here. If there's like an alleyway tank or a tank over the ladder, people will run back and line outside the tank around these tents and stuff like that. And then the tank can also do his own little counter plays where he can, walk along the monorail tracks and get sneaky little rocks. You can also hit these dumpsters straight up in the air and like land them over here. It's kind of hard to do, but you can do that. And then you have the dumpsters in play. So it gets you some versus mode. So that's kind of cool. So one thing about versus mode that makes a good versus mode map is you want to have an alternate between the choke points and open areas. So I think what makes a good versus mode map, and Dark Carnival is probably the most played versus mode map by competitive players because it follows this rule pretty strongly. So it's like choke point underneath this house or this little rooftop, open area over here. Choke point, entrance to this warehouse, semi-open area. Choke point in this little alleyway, open area. Choke point in this alleyway, and you get the point. And you don't have to follow that rule 1-to-1 when you're making levels. Like if you follow it too strictly, it's going to be kind of smothering. But as a general rule of thumb, following that pattern makes a good versus mode level, because it gives people a chance to breathe between getting destroyed by a bunch of zombies and a crazy and coordinated attack, and now you can come out here, you kind of heal up, get your bearings again, collect items, and then you go into the next choke point, and it's like solving a little problem each time you go through. Like, okay, they're gonna come from up here, they're gonna drop down on this, maybe a spitter charger. Oh wait, maybe they're gonna wait for this ladder up here and attack on the ladder, and like it's always like a little problem you have to solve every choke point you come to, and then you have like a little breath. Breath of fresh air, kind of relax a little bit, come out here, okay, now we get a plan for the next area, kind of thing. So as a rule of thumb, when you're making a level for versus, try and follow that, and it makes a good versus level, I'd say. Let's see. So we go up this ladder choke here, and
we can get up to the roof.
Versus mode, this is probably one of the most liked areas, most liked choke points in the game, because you can do big plays as a survivor and an infected here. As an infected, you have a bunch of different options. A boomer could potentially spawn back here and get an arc boom over here and boom everyone. A charger could charge someone off this and drop them down again, and they have to go all the way back, and they might get incapped, which means someone else has to come and drop down as well, and now you have a 2-2 split going on, or they all drop back together and then they have to go through the ladder all over again. So you have all different options. A smoker can even stand on this corner here and pull someone off, and they'll fall down below. And if you don't even want to do that, you can just do an easy charge spit. Because when you're on the ladder, you can't shoot your gun. At least not in vanilla. You can't. In competitive, you can. But vanilla, you cannot. So if a charger's waiting for you right there, it's almost like a free charge. And you can get a spit on top of that, and the spit will spread down here, and it does a shit ton of damage, and it just causes total chaos. So this is a fun area as an infected, but as a survivor, you can also counterplay that. You know, you pull out your melee, level the charge, or cut the smoker tongue, or just, you know, bait it out, like jump up, but actually fall down again, jump up, fall down again, and trick the charger into charging early. And wasting his charge. So, you know, all sorts of fun stuff like that in this mode, in this area, and I think that's why versus players like this level a lot. One more note about the monorail tracks. In the files, there's actually a voice line, or voice lines from several survivors where they say, "Jump on the monorail tracks." And I wonder what that might have looked like in the original iteration of this level where players were jumping on monorail tracks, apparently. I wonder if, you know, maybe this rooftop went a little closer to here and you jumped onto it from there. And then you like maybe walked over here and then dropped down here or something. I wonder how that might have worked. And I wish we got to see what the original version of this map was, because jumping on monorail tracks is fun. I restored a little bit of that action in Dark Chronicle Remix Map 5 if you want to walk on some monorail tracks. But yeah, a little Easter egg about this level. Sorry, one more Easter egg about this area, the Kittyland area. Sorry, we'll move on eventually. I got some stuff to say. But so there is a cut scavenge in this area, actually, a cut scavenge map. So the launch version of this game does not have scavenge here, but in the map, in the editor, you can see remnants of where a scavenge might have been. So the generator was right here. And then this fence was not here, so there could have been gas cans like way the fuck over here, and you have to run back and then deposit them there. Could have been gas cans way over here, and you run back. And then interestingly, this fence here gets removed in that scavenge mode. So this is normally an inaccessible out of bounds area, but in that special scavenge mode that got cut, you would have been going back here to collect gas cans, which I thought was pretty cool. But unfortunately, in the real game, you cannot go back here. You can only look at it through the fence. What a shame. But yeah, there used to be a scavenge here. Maybe the community update team could potentially add it back in the future for all, you know, 10 scavenge players. Sorry, scavenge players, for firing shots, but yeah. Have the cool
Down the
little
slide
here. In the beta version of this level, the slide was a different color. It was like very bright and colorful. And I'm guessing the artistic direction was eventually made to tone down the colors on the slide, make it more muted. Because you can see all the colors in this game are not like bright. They're like very faded, very darker, not colorful. And you know, that's just, you know, the theme of a gritty, dark zombie apocalypse. And also, in 2009 when the game came out, it was kind of the theme of games at the time to be in the darker and the grittier side. Like, you know, now games tend to have more color in them, I think. And a good comparison for this would be look at Counter-Strike Go versus Counter-Strike 2. Counter-Strike Go has that very much 2009 gritty, dirty kind of feel, and then Counter-Strike 2 is very bright, very colorful. But yeah, that's probably why they got rid of that colorful slide, just to give it more, you know, fit in with everything else. It probably would have felt out of place to have that colorful slide and then have everything else kind of muted. Let's see here. So another interesting level design trick that happens right here. As you can see, if you get too close to this, it fades in and then it fades out. It like fades to black and you literally cannot see into there. And that's an optimization trick that the level designers use to reduce the amount of stuff rendering on screen. Because you don't. Most players will not actually even notice that at all when they're back here. Let's like shooting zombies in the foreground, up in this area. You're not really gonna notice it until you get close to it. So it's a little optimization trick to reduce the amount of stuff rendering on screen. And same thing with this little overhang kind of thing that goes over the top of it. When you're playing the game, you might not even think about this stuff. Like, you're like, oh, it's just a little room you go into. But this is probably put here very intentionally to, again, block more of the very long sight lines. Like, because if you were here and that thing was not there, you'd be able to see all this stuff, and then your PC might start dropping a lot of frames. Especially consoles at the time. Xbox 360, not the strongest console in the world. So they had to... The designers had to think of all these little tricks to block sight lines and prevent stuff from rendering. And this is a nice little elevation change here. Again, it goes back to trying to have elevation changes wherever you can in a level, just to like keep the player's mind stimulated. We all kind of have ADHD in a sense that like if I'm just walking along a flat ground for like if this was the path here, I'm just walking along flat ground, yawn. That's super boring. So even just having this little spice, these little stairs here is like a little spice. Adds to the level. I always wish this door was open. Alas, it's not. It doesn't go anywhere, but I wish it was. Then you have a one-way drop too. So the stairs also adds a one-way drop into the arena, into this little event finale holdout thingy. I don't know what the official Valve terminology is, but I think they call it a gauntlet. So this is a gauntlet event because you run. There's these little rooms here which break open when the event starts, and zombies spawn in here and come out. A little Easter egg there. This little side room off to the side. I don't ever really see people coming here. And there's like a rescue spawn closet in there. Respawn closet. Let's see. So we have our event here.
I'm hitting it.
Got the music
You know what? Somehow I think it'll activate everything else around here.
I don't know why this gate slides open. Again, if you go back, if you start thinking about levels in Left 4 Dead too much, things start making less sense.
God damn, that's loud. Somebody shut it down.
But the reason why you don't actually get to go up here in this map is because the source engine and moving objects don't tend to work too well together. Things get very glitchy very fast, especially when zombies are involved. See, like I can walk into this and just actually make it stop totally from walking. So the Valve designers are probably like, oh shit, we can't let you go up there. You're just gonna walk around it instead. So maybe Source 2, if they ever make Left 4 Dead 3, we'll fix that and we get to have moving stuff, but Source 1, a little outdated, unfortunately. Let's see. So you have this little extra area out here. You don't really get the chance to go into these areas because you're trying to rush to the end from the zombies, but it's a cool little area. I really like this area. I like seeing all these little rooms or little buildings and stuff. Again, builds kind of intrigue of like you thinking about what it was like pre-apocalypse, like what it's like in here, what's in this house, what's in this building. Maybe it's a restaurant, maybe it's something else. Yeah, just a cool thought. Here we see one of the hero props for the level. Again, you can see that this has way more detail put into it than anything else in this area, and it's a very bespoke prop. They use this one time and then never again. But it's really cool detail, and I like how nice it kind of brings this whole thing together. And here's a little fun fact, but you also actually don't have to turn off the event if you don't want to. You can just run to the end, and I don't think it really changes the zombie spawns that much. Sometimes you see versus players just skipping over it and just running to the end, if it means that the specialists look at the spawn. Yeah, and then we have like the waiting area and then our safe room here. And I think that about covers it for Dark Carnival 2. Again, leave a comment down below if you think I missed anything or if there's anything else you want to hear more detail about. I'll make a follow-up video later on answering everyone's comments. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video in the tunnel of love.
We're gonna make it.
See ya.